because 2025 reminded us that culture is not just entertainment, it's instruction. This year, the Grammys became a cultural moment. Doechii stood on that stage and she used her platform intentionally, not shrinking, not softening. She named herself, her artistry, and her power in real time. And then there was Beyoncé. Her win reshaped the country category so profoundly that the Recording Academy changed the rules afterward. That sounds about right. Let's be clear. This is impact. And we've seen it all before. We also bore witness to truth telling. Cassie, along with other survivors, came forward with lawsuits against Sean the Diddler Combs. This moment wasn't gossip, it was a reckoning. It reminded us that silence is often enforced and that courage is costly, especially for Black women. On the lighter side of the culture, Love Island had us set every day, clocked in, and when Nicolandria took home the win, I don't know, something about it just felt right to me. Sometimes joy is just rooting for love in a world where it feels like there's very few soft places to land. Music also gave us legacy moments. Salt and Pepper, Outkast, they both were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then if you didn't see, the Boy Is Mine tour with Monica and Brandy was definitely a moment. It wasn't just nostalgia. It's overdue recognition for artists who shifted sound, style, and storytelling. Then came Sinners, a true moment, a lesson, a wake-up call. Everybody shouldn't be invited to the cookout. Our spaces are sacred. Our culture is not a costume or a gimmick, and access should never just be automatic. Protect your peace. And then there was a lot of loss. Asada Shakur, Angie Stone, D'Angelo, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and so many others. But every one of these shook us differently because they were artists, they were icons, they were revolutionaries, and they reminded us how deeply Black brilliance shapes our lives, but also how fragile time can be. But 2025 also gave us some warmth. Series like Forever on Netflix, created by the legendary Mara Brock Akil, felt like a soft place to land. It was a reminder that Black storytelling can be tender, it can be layered and expansive without apology. That mattered this year. And seeing myself in teenage characters and roles doing teenage things, girl, I felt seen. So shout out to you. Now let's talk money, because economics shape culture in a big way this year. Corporate DEI cutbacks hit hard. Companies like Target scaled back their commitments, revealing just how fragile performative allyship really is. And Black consumers responded with discernment, with boycotts, and with intention. At least some of us. I am side eyeing the few of y'all that I still see shop at Target. But this is not for shame, this is for recapping. At the same time, festivals and conferences were everywhere. Afrotech, One Music Fest, Rolling Loud, Jazz Fest, and Essence Fest, all centered around Black genius and Black creativity. In places where Black folks could just be and enjoy things that the people around them also enjoy. Fashion and sports intersected beautifully this year. Angel Reese walked Victoria's Secret's runway, and she became one of the highest paid athletes. Beyoncé joins Rihanna in the Billionaire Club, and at the Met Gala, Black dandyism took center stage. We're talking elegance, tailoring, intentionality. And to top it all off, Grace Wells Bonner made history as the first Black woman appointed to lead a major fashion house. That's not just style, that's power. Because when the world is unstable, knowledge becomes survival. 2025 pushed many of us back toward reading, not just for escape, but for understanding. Books became roadmaps, they became receipts and blueprints. There were so many texts on reparations and abolition and Black political history. And honestly, these are tales as old as time. Reading wasn't just passive this year, it was preparation for what's to come. Digital spaces amplified that too. Black readers on social platforms drove conversations, they elevated authors, and they challenged publishing norms. Radical Reads reminds us that our liberation has always been documented. We just have to keep turning the pages. Now let's talk about the state of the union, because politically, 2025 was a hell of a year. Kamala Harris released her book, 107 Days, offering reflection, clarity, and a record of a campaign that reshaped political conversation. At the same time, the second Trump administration made its priorities unmistakable. ICE raids increased across the country, especially in major cities, sending waves of fear through immigrant communities and immigrant families. DEI programs were dismantled at the federal level, dismissed as radical and wasteful. But what was actually cut were access points, protections, and opportunities. And the numbers tell part of the story. More than 300,000 Black women lost their jobs this year. And still, we pivoted, we built new lanes, recreated parallel economies. We survived. That is power. And that is radical. But even amid this, Black women continued to lead across the country. Black women took office at local, state, and national levels. Not just symbolic wins, which matter, but real, true leadership. But globally, the cries were impossible to ignore. The ongoing devastation in Gaza weighed heavily on the world. Entire families displaced, hospitals destroyed, homes destroyed, and children paying the highest price. At the same time, the violence that's tied to the Israeli state continued to raise urgent questions about human rights, about international law, and who the global community chooses to protect. What we witnessed wasn't just a conflict, it was a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in real time right on our screens. And people noticed. Protests erupted worldwide. Students, faith leaders, organizers, and everyday people demanded ceasefires, accountability, and an end to collective punishment. This moment clarified something very important. Silence is a position. Neutrality is a choice. And solidarity is action. Elsewhere, climate disasters compounded global instability. Hurricane Melissa devastated Jamaica. Wildfires tore through Los Angeles. Climate collapse started to feel a lot more personal and definitely not as distant. And then history shifted again. The world welcomed a new pope, one with Creole roots, a reminder that even the most traditional institutions are not immune to change. And finally, we have to ask the question many of us had asked all year. What government? A prolonged government shutdown lasted over 45 days. And honestly, it remains largely unresolved. This year showed us plainly that rights can be stripped and will be, that systems can fail, and that preparation is not optional. Electoral organizing matters, Mutual aid matters. Community defense matters because 2025 proved that waiting on the system is not a strategy. Although 2025 was a lot, we created, we organized, we loved, we pivoted. This year reminded us that culture is political, money can be very intentional, and our stories, they really do matter. If something from today resonated with you, drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who lived this year right alongside you. Until next time, stay mindful, stay prepared, and keep having a lot to say. Happy New Year, y'all.